Hello and welcome back to awtoolbox.com. My name is Glenn Keller, and in this demo we have already built out our Teamcenter environment using the Deployment Center software, and we went through and generated our deployment scripts for that. Now, we've reviewed a lot of the information that Siemens provides in this output here. And now, the goal of this video is to go in and deploy those scripts. Now, in here, once the scripts have been generated, we basically want to come in and find the location that it says. And you can see that it has information about where things are put in this output. I'm just going to minimize that output for now, and I'm going to go to the location I told it to deploy those to. So in the Siemens folder under Deployment Center, in the repository, there's a Deploy Scripts folder, and there is your environment, and that's where it's going to get generated. The reason it knows that is in the Deployment Center Installation configuration file that you generated during the initial install of Deployment Center. There were additional script directories and default script directories that you could specify, and those were right here. So since we didn't specify any additional script directories, the default location is under the repository in deployment scripts. Now in that environment folder, in the install folder, you'll have a time date stamp folder and then the deploy instructions that you saw in Deployment Center, as well as the zip. Now I do like to go ahead and extract this and just kind of put it here so I have it. And then you'll see that this doesn't have anything inside of it. It has just the deploy files. So then I'll cut it and I'll move it to a shorter path, typically in my temp directory. So you can see my temp directory is here. This other file can just go away. And then in here, this is the deploy script that you'll be using. Here's the SHA file for Linux. So I'm just going to open up an administrative command prompt to this location. Say cmd, run it as admin. And then I'm going to cd, change my drive letter to that location. So in here, I'm going to say deploy. And then if you just do a -h, just like any other scripts, it's going to give you the information you need. It has some examples, some overview information. You can also get this in the online help. So I'm going to do deploy -dc username equals dc admin. This is what I logged in with when I access the user interface. dc admin. And then I'm going to say -software location equals, and I could just say default if I wanted to, but I could also specify a full path. So is it going to the default location or is it going to the path? In this case, I'll just leave it at default and hit enter, and it should go through and begin this installation. So at this point in Windows, that's pretty much all I have to do. If I'm in Linux, you may want to run this with a no-op. It is going to take a very long time to install this, depending on if you're pre-populating or post-populating those server caches. And then once it completes, you will get an end of script. The no-op will finish, or in Windows, you will get a new line. Please don't kill this too preemptively. It will sit at one that's updating a data model artifacts for a while, but as long as it's still running and it hasn't errored out, you are still good. I have seen this run for a couple of hours sometimes in some environments, and if you automate it or optimize it, it can run significantly quicker depending on what you're deploying. So let's let this sit. We'll come back once it completes and we'll see what we get. All right, so now we come back and the deployment has completed. So you can see in here, if we take a look at a couple of the outputs, we've got a whole bunch of information about every step that was done. It tells me that the interoperability for the operating system is good. And then it says that the location of the directory that was installed is tc root, and that the successful operation concluded. So at this point, I can close this. Everything is recorded in logs, and we can take a look at those logs as we go. But if I exit out of it, let's go ahead and pull my environment back open. The logs for the deployment are right here inside of that extracted folder. I ran it from here. You can see there's internal logs for Deployment Center itself. And then you've got this deployer log. And this deployer log, if I were to open that up, this is the deployment as we see it kind of in the background. So this is going to list out all of the features and write it out kind of like if you had experienced the deployment in the TIM before. If you're working with Deployment Center and have primarily been focused on that, you'll see the similar things, the counting of the different features, pretty much all of the write out. So if you have an error, definitely come to the deployer log, get more information on it from there. You also have a diagnostic, and if you go into the internal logs, you have some additionals. So those are all of the logs for that. However, in the C apps, Siemens directory, in the Teamcenter 2506, I now have a TC data, TC root, and my volume. My TC root is my install directory. And in here, I can check on a couple of things. So first off, I know that the stage directory in this AWS2 folder is my Active Workspace client. So I know the Active Workspace client is installed. The bin directory has all of my utilities. So I know that that has been installed, and I can test that by running a utility or two. In the start menu, if I come down, I should now have a Teamcenter 2506 folder. You'll see that the environment manager is still installed here, the older installation tool. And I do still need this on occasion when I need to remove something from an installation. You do have some support for that in Deployment Center today, but we can do a fallback and then resend our configurations out. Then we have our command prompt here and my rich client here. So I'm going to launch the command prompt. It sets the TC root directory so that it can locate the executables for the utilities. So everything in this bin directory, that's why it's setting TC root. TC data is required because there's a file in there called TC profile vars. And this sets all of the environment variables when you start up a session. So this essentially tells Teamcenter where everything is. And then you can simply run install-ayt. Are you there? This is a very simple utility where you can essentially pick up on whether or not Teamcenter can connect to the database or not. So you run it, and it'll tell you right there, site is already installed. That means that it is connecting to the database. Okay, so in addition to the install AYT, a couple of other verification utilities that I typically use are things like list users. So list _ users. If you add a couple of arguments, the user and the password and the group, and you can swap in the password for -pf for password file. You can execute this, and this will basically create a session, log in via the command prompt, and list you out who all is currently logged into the system. And these other ones are basically being run by the services. They're used to automatically index or do things. So that's why you see a couple other InfoDBA accounts. So I do know that you can log in. I know that the corporate server is good at this point. And then I do need to test some other things. So I also installed a rich client. And if I come in here, I can see that's here. Now, if you want to rename the shortcut, you can rename the shortcut to rich client, but I'm just going to launch it. This is a client application. You shouldn't have to run it as admin. And then what it does is it creates a couple of things. So first of all, in the TC root, this is installed in the portal directory. So you can see it here. What's launched is the portal.bat, and then this calls everything else. So don't launch the Teamcenter executable or the Teamcenter application. You launch the portal.bat, and that's what the shortcut will take you to. Now, this has a bunch of configuration files in it, and we've worked with the rich client for a long time. It hasn't really changed much over time. So if you're used to working with it in previous versions, it'll be pretty much the same deal. You can automate the login if you're using manual logins. There's blogs and posts out there for that. But the plugins are essentially all of the plugins for Eclipse. This sits on Eclipse, and all of its configuration files and stuff are in here. So once it opens up, let me minimize this, you get a login page, and essentially you just provide a username and password. You can optionally say which group and role you want to log into in case you have more than one. If you don't specify this, it'll log you into the default one. And then which environment that you selected, which we set up inside of Deployment Center. So I'm going to come in. I only have one user in this system at the moment. That's the admin user I created at the creation in Deployment Center. So I'm going to go ahead and click Login. And then what it's going to do here is, now that we know where it's installed, underneath the user directory in InfoDBA's account, you have an FCC cache. So what this has done is this has started up a Java process. And that Java process is this TCCS login. This is your local client cache. And this actually has a couple of files associated to how it's run sitting here on the box. But the FCC cache is actually located here by default, and you set these inside of Deployment Center, and you can see all the cache files and the read-write directories, and you can see everything's pretty encrypted and hashed. The FSC cache is also here, our FSC master that we installed. Because the FSC is installed on the same machine, you get the cache at the same spot, and you can see the segment cache, the read and write caches. The Siemens and Teamcenter folders. The Siemens folder has become a conglomerate for most of the logs inside of the system. So the Siemens folder will have this logs folder, and then you'll have an organization of logs for every one of your components, whether it's security services, TCSS, or TCCS, Teamcenter Client Communication System, 2-tier. You've got the FSC communication, SOA, third party, which is relative to the FOSS repository, microservice framework, Teamcenter itself, and then Windows services. So you've got a nice logs directory here. Siemens has been kind of working to increase it. If you blow this folder away, it will recreate and the logs will be generated again, both in Linux and Windows. In the last folder here, the Teamcenter folder, this is all relative to that rich client that we're opening here. So this folder is the rich client cache, and a lot of times we have to delete this folder. So in here, you can delete the rich client cache, but if you come into it, each of the log files generated by the client are actually located here. So you can come here to find those logs. In addition to that, we also have in the temp directory, if we go to the base temp, there'll be this V and then the version of Teamcenter folder. So if you've had previous versions of Teamcenter running on the box before, it's recommended to delete those other ones. This is the server cache. So this will be downloaded and needs to download and keep a cache of the LOVs and metadata and text server localizations just to speed things up on the client. So all of these things get installed here, and you can see that in the background, the rich client has begun to open up. You can see it's asking me for the Products Excellence program. Again, this is something that Siemens puts out, helps them improve. I typically say decline just because most of my customers have a policy for security reasons. They hit decline. Definitely read it over. It has its benefits, upsides and downsides. I'm going to hit decline here. And then you'll see the rich client will actually load up and we'll see the interface. So I know that I'm logged into Teamcenter now. I don't have Active Workspace actively up and running yet, but I can interact here. One good test of this system is actually to do an upload of a file. So I like to come in here and say, let's create a spec data set. We'll open it up real quick and add some content to it. So it'll act as a file. If you have a CAD data set or something along those lines, you can add those. I'll drag and drop it onto the home folder here. And then I get my spec text. It's going to identify as a text data set type, and I'll hit OK. Now what's cool about that is I've tested the login, the actual creation of my session in the system, and now I have also tested the ability to move files throughout my system. So in future videos, we'll dive into the FMS components and we'll look at things like coming into the TC root directory and going into the TCCS bin and running utilities that Siemens has provided to check on the status of our caches. We can purge them and clear them out and run status again just to double check that there's no files being downloaded or uploaded. This one was the one uploaded from there, but 0 downloaded. And you can see the files in the read and write caches are here, 0 files. So we can play around with downloading the file from the client, whether it's Active Workspace or the rich client, in this case rich client. I can download that file and then rerun a status on it. And you can see now the read files are 1. So we can validate that movement of that data through the use of these utilities. Now, we've now validated the installation through the use of the command prompt and the rich client. In future videos, we'll go in and we'll modify our installation using Deployment Center. We'll add a whole bunch more to it. We'll get into setting up our web tier infrastructure to support Active Workspace. And then we're really going to take a deep dive into some of the services that got installed, like our Active Workspace indexing service, the Teamcenter services that got installed here. So we'll talk about what each one is and why it's here. And along with any other things that we can think of to build this environment up as much as possible to support. And then we're going to branch off into those other environments, those other servers, and move components out to really replicate a distributed environment. Thanks for joining us again today. Stay tuned for that next video.